Welcome to the Dirt Life Show with your host, George Hamill.
All right, guys, welcome to episode 164 of the Dirt Life Show. We have a Vegas Torino recap for you guys today. Man, we're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff. I'm your host, Georgie Hamill.
And I'm your co-host, Bella Bouchard.
Woo, let's go, Bella. And Bella actually raced Vegas Torino, so it's going to be pretty cool. Bella's going to be able to give us some insight as to how the track was and to how the racing was, even the pace of the race. A lot of cool stuff happened this weekend. One of the first things is that we just messed up, but we're going to announce it again, is the Maxxis Final 48. So it was the last pit 13 to the finish line, fastest times in 8 classes. Just get straight cash. You didn't have to be a Maxxis driver or a Maxxis athlete to be able to win that cash. Super cool, and I will say this wholeheartedly, I feel like companies should engage in stuff like this and promote stuff like this a lot more often, because it shows how much these companies care about off-road. So we're going to go ahead and announce those guys. If you guys heard it when we were talking before, thank you guys very much for listening. But right now, we are going to give you all of the winners. So the first winner in the trophy truck class for the Final 48 was none other than our boy Ryan Arciero. Yeah, buddy. Good job, Ryan.
Congratulations.
Yep. And then let's see here. Who was in the 6100 class, Bella?
6100 class Final 48 winner was Jason Coleman.
All right, Jason Coleman and Brady Mellon, those guys were on it. In 4400, it was Raul Gomez, so he must have been shredding. Who was the Open A?
Open A class was William Fry.
And Open E class for the Maxxis Final 48 was Matthew Grant. So go get your cash, Matthew.
Woo-hoo. All right.
Who's next?
Open UTV class Final 48 winner was Dallas Gonzalez.
You know that guy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so Dallas Gonzalez, I'm actually really proud of him for winning this, because just for him to compete and his injuries in the past and to overcome those and win that, he must have been just ripping. The UTV NA was GFI Racing and Maxxis athlete Zach Kissman, so that was super cool to see. And then the final UTV Pro Turbo, who you got, Bill?
One of my favorites, Cody Miller.
Yeah, Cody. All right, so we got a couple of Maxxis athletes in there. Really cool. So congratulations to everybody that won the cash for the Maxxis Final 48. They're going to post that on their social media. We'll share it, and then you guys can go collect your guys' prizes, man. Thank you very much to Maxxis for doing that. Super cool. All right, so on today's show, we have awesome guests that we're going to interview. We just mentioned his name for winning the Maxxis Final 48, Ryan Arciero. So Ryan Arciero and Travis Moores are going to come on and talk to us a little bit about their race, the pressure that they had from Nic Whetstone and giving him pressure too. Nic Whetstone is going to be our second guest that we have come on. In his geyser truck, man, he was just ripping, consistent driving all day. Who's our third guest?
Our third guest is Josh Roe. He's the UTV overall winner for Vegas Torino.
Yeah, he must have been shredding, because those top 3 UTVs, oh my gosh, they were just all
constant battle all day. So.
All day. Honestly, top 5. It was just so close all day. Second place UTV was Maxxis Eddy. Maxxis Eddy and Austin Eddy are going to join us. It's going to be cool to talk with them. And then we got a special Bella's Corner segment towards the end with one of your friends, Bella.
Her name is Samantha Rode. She works for Evolution Power Sports. She came out and co-drove actually for one of the podium winners. So
yeah, Jacobs and Cohen.
Yep.
So it was cool to see. It's like a big family effort, but it's also really professional, and they do a lot of product development and testing and stuff there too. So we're going to get to learn a little bit more about Samantha and what she does too. So I'm really excited about that. A couple things that we're going to talk about as far as through the show. We're going to talk a little bit about technology and racing. I think it's going to be a cool little subject. We're going to talk about the UTV battle. And I want to mention to everybody before we start the show that tomorrow we are going to be at 19 Industries with Ryan Arciero actually, and we're going to do a sponsorship summit. And what that actually means is if you guys are interested in understanding how to get sponsors, how to keep sponsors, how to negotiate with them, how to get free product or money or whatever it is to get your program to the next level. Our buddy Alex Stryler puts on sponsorship summits, and it's sponsorshipsummit.com. And I'm going to be one of the guests talking about technology and racing. But the value in it is not necessarily just me. It's talking about social media. It's talking about promotional stuff. He does a very, very good job at telling everybody how to retain sponsors and to get sponsors. So if you guys are interested in that, please visit sponsorshipsummits.com. and go sign up. And if you guys do want a code, maybe a secret code, I might be able to help you out too. So
take advantage of that.
All right, let's get our first guest on, Ryan Arciero, and let's see if Travis Morris is also. Thank you guys very much for letting us know about the audio issues. We really appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Getting us all dialed in. All right, there we go. Ryan Arciero and Travis Morris. What's up, boys?
How we doing, Bella? George, how we doing?
Hi.
Travis, what's happening?
Doing very good, but probably not as good as you guys. Are you guys still on the high horse, man? 4 feet, buddy. 4 feet.
I know. Can you believe that? 4 in a row. It's insane. Both Travis and I are extremely blessed. Obviously, we couldn't do this, or we couldn't even dream of doing this without our team owner, Kyle Washington. Without him, the wheels don't go round and round. So a big shout out, a big thank you to Kyle Washington for allowing us to take his truck and go run 555 miles to the Nevada desert.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. How did that truck do, Travis?
Phenomenal. The 19 Industries truck is the best truck out there, and it's that Joe Gibbs engine is so fast. So, I mean, we hit 146. I think we talked about it before the race. I think that was my prediction, and we actually hit it. So,
dude, that's insane. Well, let me ask you this: like, both of you guys, Ryan, a few years ago, that was unheard of to do 146 miles an hour. You're a speed demon by yourself, but how does it feel to go 146 in a trophy truck?
It's incredible. I mean, the fastest I've gone is in this truck, and it was in Lucerne testing, and we did 159 miles an hour across Soggy Dry Lake. And I tell you what, that is the fastest I've gone in a trophy truck, or in a desert truck, or in the desert period. And I mean, at that speed, you're making very small inputs. You can't make any big inputs in that steering wheel because the truck's going to really react to it. So you got to be real gentle and kind of let the truck do what it wants to do, especially at those speeds.
Dude, it's kind of crazy. Bella, could you imagine that? Travis, how does it feel on your head when that much pressure is going against it in the open cockpit?
Well, sometimes you got to hold your helmet straight so I can still read the GPS. And I just once we get about 120 and keep pushing that limit, then it's all focus. Make sure we don't miss a turn or ditch or something that can screw us up at those speeds.
Well, let's talk about some of that, because the speed was one of the things that I wanted to talk about at the Vegas Torino race this year. And the average speed was very high, and pushing those limits was like, I don't want to say it was mandatory, but it almost was, because you guys had established the pace with Nic Whetstone, and it was so fast that it wasn't like you couldn't make any mistakes. You couldn't mess up, and you had to keep the pressure on the entire time.
Well, we sure did. I mean, our goal, what Travis and I's plan was take the start and then see if we can't bridge the gap to Nick and get to the tail end of his dust, and at least have him on time and keep the pressure on him. And that's exactly what we did. Within the first 5 miles, we were at the tail end of his dust, and we really didn't have to push super hard to get there. The truck was working really, really good. We've been working a lot with Fox on the live valve, and the truck was handling really, really good. So we were able to bridge that gap pretty quick, and we just stayed there. My plan was with Travis was just keep the pressure on Nick and wait for him to make a mistake and see if we can push him into mistake. And what I got to say is my hat's off to Nick, because he did exactly what he was supposed to do. It didn't really rattle him, and it took us 3/4 of the race for us to finally get him to make a mistake enough so we can capitalize on it. And in the process, we got 2 flats as well, 2 unlucky flats that we got both at separate times. And the first time we got it, he was able to pull away from us, and we bridged the gap right back again, and got him to his dust. And then the second time we got it, and then just not too long after that, he got one. But we weren't in the position at that point to take advantage of his flat. But we were able to get back to his rear bumper again within 15 seconds, and then boom, he had a slow leaker and had to pull into rawhide the third to last pit, and we were able to capitalize on it.
Dude, it's kind of crazy. Does that change the way that you your mentality, Travis, when you have to get out of the truck and change those flats? Because it's like, all right, we're going. Oh, pace has stopped for a little bit. Like, are you just under so much pressure?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of pressure, but I think more of it's I put it on myself. I don't want to be the guy that screws up for the race or we don't win because of something I do. So it's just about being smooth and do the fastest I can with being smooth and not risk making a mistake.
Dude, speaking of speed, Ryan, I think clocked one of your pit stops. I think it was pit 8, maybe 27 seconds.
Isn't that awesome? It's the guys at 19 Industries, man. It's our team here. This truly is, and I can't say it enough. Yeah, I'm in the driver's seat. I'm the one that's turning the wheel. Without Travis to my right side, the navigator is a massive part of what we do and how we go win. But just as important is your crew. If we don't have the right crew behind us, if we don't have the pit stops down pat, we don't have a truck that leaves the race shop that's ready to win, all this is for nothing.
Dude, it's kind of crazy. Can you imagine being in, like, changing those truck tires and all that stuff that fast, Bill?
I think a UTV tire is heavy. I can't imagine a trophy truck tire.
I know. And then to your point too, like, Travis did such a phenomenal job on those tire changes. I mean, it's as hard as you can go, as fast as you can go, trying to fling those 40-inch tires on and off. And I mean, he did such a great job, and every second counts. So Travis's point, putting pressure on himself, it matters. So if you're slow, it matters, and it could be the outcome of the race.
You're right, though, too. And Travis, you guys, when Nic came into the pits and when you guys made the, in air quotes, the pass, you guys passed him through there. If you were another second behind, like what Ryan was saying, Travis, you may have not made that pass.
Oh, for sure, because it probably took them in the pit, a good 30, 45 seconds to get that tire changed. So had I been slower or we had any other issues, we would have been there.
Hey, so let me ask you this real quick, Travis, because we just had a navigator show, and I'd like to give some information to the younger crowd, some of Bella's crowd and stuff like that. If you could give any, tips and stuff to any of the co-drivers that are out there, like maybe like patience, take deep breaths, do stretching, keep your mind right. Like, what would you tell all these people to make their co-drivers better?
I think the biggest thing is just staying relaxed. If you don't stay relaxed, then you're gonna get exhausted, and you get tired anyways. It's hot, but it's just a different focus. The driver is physically and mentally, being worn out, and sitting in the right seat, it's more mental, just making sure that you're reading those notes. And so I always tell myself, just relax, take a breath. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you got to trust your driver too. So, if you don't trust your driver, then you probably shouldn't be in that seat.
How was that dynamic working between you guys, Ryan, when you guys were chasing and then being the chased? Because you guys have a lot of mental games that you had to play in your head. You can't push too hard. You can't break the truck, but you still have to apply pressure to Nic.
No, 100%. I said, Travis and I had a plan going into it. We talked through it. And it's Travis's job too to make sure that we're staying on that plan, because it's easy as a driver to get rattled. It's easy to get to be impatient and want to work through that dust and get around that guy. But it's a 555-mile race, so you physically have to tell yourself as a driver, you have to keep reminding yourself, patience. Wait for it. And sometimes that wait for it it takes hours upon hours, like it did on Friday, to finally capitalize on it. But we ended up capitalizing on it. So you just got to you have to be in a position where you can capitalize on it. And it is like, this race is unlike Baja. Like Baja, we're pre-running. We can pre-run a week to 2 weeks before the race, so we know every other line than the race course. This one we don't, so we can't capitalize on a line that's to the left or the line that's to the right. So you have to. So the risk versus reward is way too high to try to charge through that dust. And you guys saw the live stream of the dust and how bad the dust was. So it was very different. Like 15 seconds was probably the closest we can get to Nic off his back bumper without taking major chances, and it's just not worth it in the race.
Yeah. We were seeing that same thing too. Bella was out there racing, so she didn't get to watch the live stream, but we were also talking about that. And Bella, how is it driving through the dust like at Vegas Torino? And Ryan was in that 15-second gap for half the race. I mean, it was insane. Could you have done that?
Oh yeah, we kind of witnessed that a little bit going through like the silt beds and stuff, and being behind someone's tail, but kind of just having full faith in your co-dog. Like, okay, you're guiding me right now. I don't know where I'm going. I can't see, there's power poles next to us, and so it's cool to see that you guys have that much trust in each other, like being able to navigate each other through this 550-mile race.
Yeah,
pretty great.
And to your point, Bella, I mean, that's the same thing I would tell Travis when we were getting the thick of it. I'm like, just tell me where we're going.
Yeah.
Tell me where we're going. And obviously you're trying to maintain a pace, but there's some of the roads that you're on a power line road, and the risk is very high if I start charging through that dust. So you kind of back it down a little bit. And you'll probably see me in the live stream where I'm kind of tapping the brakes, and you see the front of the truck dive when I get into the dust, just because I'm unsure of what's happening.
How was it doing like the strategy, right? Because you take off and you're in second place, you kind of have a game plan, and then you know you're going to be sitting in dust. The dust gets worse, the dust gets better. You make up time, you lose some time. Like to me, as an ex-professional driver, like it's frustrating. Like I need somebody else to manage those things for me, Ryan. So you guys must have had a lot of different strategies and the different therapeutic conversations in the cab.
Well, I said it goes back to George. It's having patience. You know, when I was a younger driver, you know, I didn't have a lot of that, and it does make the difference between winning and losing, and just having that patience. And this race, I had to exercise that patience for 6 hours, and just knowing that even though I'm sitting in Nic's dust, I have him on time. So as long as I can stay there, I have him on time. I have him anywhere from 45 seconds to 10 seconds on time, as long as I can stay there. So if I make a mistake and I hit something or I take a corner off, well, I'm out of the game. As long as I can stay in his dust, I'm in the game, and I'm still leading. The burden falls upon him at that point not to make any mistakes. So I think there's more pressure on him. And I talked to him at the finish line and told him what a great job he did, and I didn't rattle him. And he kept on telling me, he goes, man, I was hoping you were going to make a mistake. I said, man, I was hoping you were going to make a mistake. And it just took longer for it to happen. So
that's some good sportsmanship, though. Being able to go at the end of the finish line and be like, real.
But Travis, like, there's nothing that you can do except for shake their hand, because it was like a fight the whole day. I mean, the pressure was on both sides.
Oh, for sure. And that's what makes it fun. You know, we had the same thing last year, and you always talk after the race, and it's just a good time. You tell each other how it was changing the tire, or what missed this corner, or did this or that, and you end up talking about it all day and having a good conversation, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's cool. And then were you guys able to spend any time with your families and stuff afterwards? Because Reno is such a beautiful spot.
You know, it's funny because up until last year, every year we would spend 3 or 4 days up at Tahoe with the family and enjoy. But my kids started school today, so it's like we had to get back. My wife Michelle had already left Vegas and got back on Friday. So we turned around Saturday morning, and our celebration was telling stories the whole way back with my dad and my little son Ryan. So that was, that in itself is worth it. To have my dad there, who's a Hall of Famer, and to have my son, who I would love to bring up through the ranks of off-road racing, be a part of it. And then Travis, my best friend there, right alongside me. Travis and I had known each other since we were 5 years old, and so we've had a long relationship together, and it makes a big difference when we're in the truck, because I can chew his ass out and he can chew mine out. we still love each other.
No, that's exactly what off-road is all about.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty sweet. Well, it looks like we might have lost Travis, Ryan. He's driving home all the way to Colorado, and he was telling me before the show that he had 6 or 8 hours left. So, all right, Travis, we'll see you later, buddy. Thank you very much for coming on. I was going to joke with him. I wish that he was on, Ryan, but during the live stream, we had, I don't even know how many comments saying, please, wipe the GoPro, wipe the GoPro.
I heard that on the radio at one of the pits, like, wipe the GoPro. So it's like I had it in my head for whatever reason. And obviously I got a lot of other things to worry about when I'm in the truck, but every 20 minutes to 30 minutes, if we were in the thick of the dust, I tell Travis, wipe the camera, wipe the camera. George is going to be pissed at me at the end of this deal if we didn't wipe the damn camera.
So we made fun of you guys in the production chat that we had going on, and Travis started doing it really good at the halfway point. So I go, all right, Travis is doing a real good job. We'll go give him a beer at the finish line. They go, no, give him half a beer.
It's true. Absolutely. But I mean, George, honestly, and Bella, how cool is it to be able to ride shotgun in that truck with live stream for almost 9 hours and be able to see everything I was seeing, except for, yes, you saw more because you got to see out behind, and I couldn't see that.
It was so cool, Ryan. Like, I don't know how many people just commented in and just were so, like, I don't know what you want to say, like in awe or surprised or happy, like all of these different emotions from all of these people because they get to ride along with you. Like, it was just so cool. And then what happens is those little tiny like pieces of excitement all of a sudden become how their strategy would be if they were in there with you and what they would be doing and how they would manage it. And it just, all the interaction makes it so cool to live that off-road life with you guys.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I just took my kids to school for the first day today, and I had so many parents come up to me saying, "Hey, we watched you on live stream," and they've never seen an off-road race before. I mean, those are the people that we need in our sport, and to be able to give them the tool to be able to do that. I mean, if nobody has ever dealt with George and your product, I mean, they need to get on board with you, because this whole thing and Elon Musk's Starlink has physically changed our sport for the better.
Man, I appreciate that more than you know. Like, and I can't wait to actually see when it's in everybody's hands, right? Because now we're going to have built by the racers for the racers, and all the racers sharing all this stuff. It's just going to be so cool, man. And thank you very much for the kudos. But I'll say this: I'll give you a stat, Ryan. We had just at 90 extra cameras out there. 90.
Wow, 90.
That's how many racers are supporting us and trying to get the help out.
That is phenomenal. So now we need another 900 more.
Yeah.
So let's go. And then we're going to cover this sport from every angle possible, and it will be mainstream. So that's what I'm excited about. That's what keeps me going is to be able to bring what I think is cool, what I've been living my life for the last 31 years of racing in this sport. I've been around it my whole life, but to be able to bring this to the masses and share my passion for what we do, because we literally have one of the coolest forms of motorsports, and I've been around them all. Coolest forms of motorsports on the planet, and now we're bringing it to them live.
Dude, I agree 100%. Hey, speaking of bringing it to people live, you and I are going to join each other tomorrow for a sponsorship summit. Maybe tell everybody what they can expect if they want to come join us and hang out with you.
I'm super excited. Obviously, we're going to do it from 19 Industries, and tomorrow starting at 2 p.m. I encourage those who are trying to figure out how to get involved on the sponsorship side, not only trying to obtain sponsors, but what do I need to do to activate the sponsorship? What do I need to do to keep them? How do I need to think outside the box? Because, the days of putting a sticker on the side of the car and going racing are long, 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 long gone. And we got to be creative. And the biggest thing we have in front of us is social media, which for a lot of us in a lot of different aspects of social media, it's free. So you need to use it to its max. And I tell you what, it's going to be, for those who are trying to figure this out, I highly, highly recommend jumping on and being involved in it. And if they need to, use the code NINE, and it'll give you 20% off.
There you go. All right, thanks, Ryan. Hey, and dude, I can't say to you enough, man. I know how hard it is. I know how difficult it is, but you got 4 of these bad boys, man. 4.
I'm blessed. I mean, it's a lot of hard work on everybody's part, not just mine. But to be able to go do that, to do 4 in a row, to do it once is a feat in itself, because this is a tough race. To be able to do it 4 times in a row, where my mind goes now is number 5.
Let's go, baby. Get ready for it. All right, homie. Hey, we'll see you tomorrow. And again, congratulations, dude. And thank you very much, Travis, for joining us as well.
Bella, George, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me aboard.
Later, buddy.
All right. Take care.
All right, so let's get Nic Whetstone on here. We're going to have to invite him. So let me go ahead and search for him.
Imagine knowing your code dog since you were 5 years old.
Dude, that's cool, right?
That's insane.
I mean, just think about the synergy, though, right?
Yeah.
Like,
how comfortable they are with each other. Like, that's so rad.
It's pretty, and also how much crap they can talk with each other. All right, so our next guest, Nic Whetstone, long-time trophy truck driver and second place at Vegas Torino. Man, Nic, you were leading the race for just over, what was it, half of the race? That was a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it was a long time. Bittersweet, I guess. Disappointing, but, all in all, I think decent result for, the time we've been in the trophy truck, and we're making progress. We've got these qualifying runs pretty dialed now, and now I'm just trying to figure out, when to push and how to race smart. So,
well, give us a little bit of a background on what you're saying then. Oh, there's a lot of guys. I'll put it in 2 different paths here. There's guys that can all of a sudden sprint, just straight from the go, they're fast, and there's guys that takes a little bit of time to warm up. Which one of those guys are you?
Well, I can sprint, and I think I qualified first at Mint, qualified first here at Vegas Torino by a reasonable margin. I think Mint was like 8 seconds, and here was 5 seconds, and so there's no question about the sprinting. It's just really trying to find the happy medium, I think. And so I've gone out in the race and blazed away and, blasted rocks and got flats and broke the truck. And we've done all that and experienced all that. And now it's really trying to just reel it back in. and, get to the finish line.
I think you showed a lot of consistency, though, at this race. I mean, even though there may have been a couple seconds there when Ryan actually did get past you, all that time, just in that little spot that in the middle, all that time you were consistent. You were very, very consistent and very fast that entire time.
Yeah, well, I think the plan for this race was just to be like ultra disciplined. So really what we tried to do was go pretty conservative. And so we weren't sprinting by any means. We were really probably only running, 65, maybe 70% pace wise. And, I knew that Ryan was going to be in thick dust back there. And so the plan was kind of to sit him in the dust line and wait for him to make the mistake. And unfortunately, we didn't, quite capitalize on that. He sort of worked. He had a couple of flats, but then, we got a mystery flat and had a slow leaker. And then, I didn't re-rack it when we went through one of the pits. And so, we had nothing on the rack. And so at that point, it's like, well, I got to go 50 miles through the rocks pretty conservatively. So we just took it easy, and at that point, there's no point pushing. You got to get to the finish line to get a result. So
yeah, but you did have the right strategy, though, and we were actually talking about it on the live streams and stuff like that. And actually, the Best in the Desert live stream was saying it as well. And I didn't know that Nic was only going about 65%, though, Bella. Like, that takes a lot of discipline.
Oh yeah, and a lot of patience too.
Is that
it's a frustrating thing, man. It's like you got this beast in your hand. You want to go fast, but at the same time, it's a long race, and so Ryan, he's done a lot of this stuff, and hats off to him. It's a credit, to sit back there in the dust like that, not push through the dust and make a mistake. That's that's why he's won it so many times, and he's had so much success in racing off road is he played it smart. So we tried to play it smart and just didn't quite work, but I guess that's kind of how off road goes.
Well, yes and no, though. I think just listening to you right now, because I didn't know this stuff before the race, it feels like you learned a lot just by this one race.
Yeah, I learned a lot. That's my second time racing Vegas Torino. We've only been in trophy trucks. This is our second year racing, so period. So we're really overall we're still green as a team, and I'm still green as a driver. And so, like I said, we're making slow steps. It's one of those things where you can get in a truck and you can drive that thing pretty good, but once you get to a certain level, it starts to come down to the 1%ers, and now it's just those tiny little adjustments that we've got to keep making to get better, I think. And we seem to be doing that. We built this truck last year and had a couple teething issues with it, but the whole Geyser team and Cheeseburger and whatnot, they've really they've got this thing dialed in pretty good now, and the truck's working well, makes a ton of power. Connor Jackson, who's my co-driver, we kind of, we had to mesh a little bit as well, and it took a little bit of time to kind of get to know the system that we're using and how we're using our notes and how he's reading out notes and how I react to them. And like I say, you can get good at it quick, but to really master it takes all those 1%. So
yeah, it really does. And like you said, being green at it only for a couple of years now, you guys actually really are making pretty big strides. How much does it help to have a team like the Geyser Brothers with you? Because you got such I don't even know what you want to call it, just a wealth of knowledge behind you.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are the lords of off-road, I guess. They really have got all the experience. They've been around a long, long time. And, frankly, Rick and Jeff and their team, they're wizards in off-road. You can see when you're mentioning stuff to them, you can see their brain ticking over, trying to figure out, what's going on. And they've just been around so many fast guys. They've built so many trucks. They've had tons of success. They've raced themselves, and so they really know. And I think it shows that putting a driver that's been racing trucks for 2 years in one of their trucks and been able to go out and qualify, with these times and frankly, run a race like we did. I think that it shows that the trucks that they build are top of the line.
Well,
frankly, I think just to rebut on disturb Ryan up a little bit, I still think Guys is the number one two-wheel drive truck in the market. So
there you go. Well, hey, that's what creates growth, right? It's Microsoft and Apple, it's Chevy and Ford.
Yeah.
Like you got to have that competition to create that and elevate the sport. And the best thing about it is like you can put a driver like Arciero or yourself that are fantastic drivers in a lot of different vehicles, and you guys can still get the job done. But you guys have chosen the path that you have, and you guys are happy with that path. And that makes it so cool to see from an outsider's perspective, from Bella's perspective, from my perspective, because now we can choose who we want to win. We can root for our favorite driver. We can have our favorite teams. Like, it is so awesome to be able to see that, man. And now having all the competition so close is just fantastic. Like, I didn't even know who to root for on Friday, dude. Like, I was so pumped to see you out front. I was so pumped to see Ryan chasing you. I was so pumped to see you chasing Ryan. It was badass.
Yeah, it was fun, actually. I got to say, like, that was, it was almost, it felt like we were almost playing a little game with each other. Like, we'd go through the pit and I'd be a minute out, and then I'd come through the next pit and he's 20 seconds, and the next pit was 40 seconds. And, it was fun. The course was pretty interesting as well. I got to say, that was like, we're on all these virgin tracks and then down into a wash that literally had no tracks in it. The motorcycle went through before us, obviously, but they were weaving in and out of the bushes. And so at one point I said to Connor, I'm like, dude, are we even on the course? Like, so, and we're kind of pushing as well. We're doing 50, 60 mile an hour through these washes. And I'm like, shit, I don't know where we're going, but it looked like we're on course.
Yeah. So you did like the course then?
Yeah, I did. Hats off to the guys. I think the course was awesome. We had a great time.
Yeah.
It adds a level of, complexity and that technical thing where it's like you kind of, I saw Brian mention it before as well, but you can't go out and pre-run this stuff. Yeah. So you're really following a map. It's purely, off-road, trying to read the terrain and get through all that stuff. It makes it interesting.
Well, it changes the whole dynamic, right? And speaking of dynamics, I wanted to ask, because I ask a lot of people this, and Bella likes this question too, is what kind of stuff do you guys do for nutrition and for hydration and stuff inside the truck? Because you're in the truck for a long time, and as many people that would think, oh, driving the truck is easy. It's not. The amount of calories that you guys burned in that, let's just say, 8 hours of racing would put most people on the ground.
Yeah, man, it's tough. I got to say, hauling the mail for 9 hours is one of the toughest things I've done physically, yeah, but like mentally as well. I think I try to think of myself as reasonably mentally stable, but you're like every like 10 miles you got to reassure yourself and try and recheck up on yourself to make sure that you're dialed. But in our truck we have a fluid logic system, and I love it. I use it. I get cotton mouth the whole time, and so I'm just continually pressing the button, squirting water in my mouth. And this race, for the first time, I actually had an IV. So I forget the name of her company, but the lady that was set up at contingency there, we went and got an IV, and it helped. It helped.
Bella?
I think it's called Finish Line.
Yeah, Finish Line IV. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, Finish Line IV. So that was awesome. And so I guess the way that she explained it to you is that it fills up your cells with the fluid, and then, as your body needs it, it kind of deflates and keeps you hydrated. And it worked. It really did. After the mint, man, I could hardly put food in my mouth. My lips were so dry. My whole body was just like I was like a dried apricot. So it worked.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that that hydration and what you put in your body makes that much of a difference. And I only say this because there's so many people that think off-road might be easy, right? When you get to the top level of any sport, every little detail, like you said, counts. And that's one of the main details, is keeping your brain focused and keeping your body in check. And it's very difficult to do that for 8 hours when you have nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Level of concentration, especially when you're going quick, like those that course has got a lot of areas that you're going super fast, and it's like, man, you got to try and get your eyes to keep focusing on what's in front of you. So,
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Could you imagine going that fast, Bella, for that long?
I was wondering actually about the finish line IVs. I was going to get one before my race, but I've never done something like that before. So, going into a huge race like that, I didn't want to try something new out of my comfort zone. But did it make a big difference for you, performance-wise?
Yeah, it really did. I get dehydrated really, really easy. And, frankly, I've got a fluid logic system in the truck, and it was gone by about it was empty by like mile 350. So, we had Pedialyte and waters and stuff at the pits. But, really without that, going 9 hours in 100-degree heat in a trophy truck, swinging off the steering wheel, it's pretty tough. And that the IV for sure helped me. I wasn't dehydrated when we finished the race. So that's the first for me for sure.
Hey, let me ask you this question. Since you're 2 years into this whole trophy truck thing, what has been well, I guess it's a two-part question. What was the most difficult piece of the race that you had to negotiate? And then the same kind of steep curve, is it all the same stuff that you're learning, or is it different each race?
You know what? The first year, it was really just getting my teeth cut. I've always loved going fast. I've always loved racing. I grew up racing motocross. My parents raced ski racing, and my uncle raced trophy trucks. And so I grew up around racing, grew up around, big motors and horsepower and all that sort of stuff. So it's in my blood, and I always loved it. But really getting my teeth cut in the first year, kind of understanding more specifically how a trophy truck works and how to really operate it. And so I did some courses, or I did some training with Ricky Johnson, and he taught me a lot about the intermittent braking. And I think the intermittent braking is probably the biggest thing that helped me in a truck. You can't just jump on the brakes and expect that thing's going to stop. Yep. You got 6,000 pounds, and you're in the dirt and all that sort of stuff. And really, that's been one thing that really helped me the most. That really, and throttle control. Throttle control is a huge thing. Getting traction to the ground, especially when you're in a big block with a gearbox. It's that's one of the next things, is you got to figure out how to get all that power and actually get traction. So there was that. And again, it's racing bikes kind of taught me how to read terrain. It also probably taught me how to set up for corners, getting in ruts, getting in lines, picking lines, doing all that sort of stuff. And so that stuff really comes natural. It's really, now it's just refining, setting up for corners and truck position when you're on the course, truck position when you're getting through the rocky areas, and again, just refining the drive style.
Well, so this is really near and dear to my heart, because I came from dirt bikes too, so I understand a little bit. And Bella, she actually lost the motor. They exploded a CVT and ended up sending a crankshaft, and she lost the motor. What mile marker was it?
It was mile marker 230.
Okay.
So I don't want to do. What was that, Nick?
No, sorry. You go on.
I don't want to use Bella as an example, but in this case, I am. And the stuff that you're learning helps keep those parts and helps keep the truck alive for a lot longer. So those little minute details, like changing the way that you use the brakes, changing the way that you use the throttle, have different rolling speed through corners, have different things that don't upset the truck. All of those things help the suspension components, they help the tires, they help the engine components, the driveline components. It's really cool that you're saying all this stuff, because every little piece, like you said at the beginning, has helped you get to where you are.
Yeah, for sure. And even setting up with the suspension, just knowing the truck and understanding how it works. And when we first got it going, it was good, but we went and had a session with SDG, and they helped get the wheels on the ground, I guess is the easiest way of explaining it. Once we could get the wheels on the ground, we're getting better traction. It wasn't dancing around through the big bumps as much, and it just started working a lot better. Dugans, who build our motor, they've given me plenty of power, and so that's not an issue in that respect. Plenty of power and consistent, reliable power as well. Those guys take care of business. They build a really good motor, and they've been great support. and
Well,
and
their attention to detail is very similar to the detail that you're talking about.
it is 100%, and they've been around long enough that they know that that's what's required, and so that's just what they do, and they're good at it.
So knowing all that stuff and understanding it, how do you feel? Like, what's your gauge on your level of performance throughout the race?
You know what? I'm super disappointed, but at the same time, we had a plan, and like I said, the plan was to just drive consistent, be disciplined, try and put Ryan in our dust, and have him make the mistake, and that's what we did. Other than those couple of flats, we've pretty much executed on that deal. We needed a little more luck on our side that day, and it didn't happen. It wasn't our time. So I really think that if we can be consistent like that in some of the races, towards the end of this year and next year, that we've got the top seat on the box looking straight at us. So I'm pretty confident in that.
So, Bella, I can tell you right now, just by looking and hearing at what Nic's talking about, is he's got a lot of ambition. He's putting himself as we call it accountability. He's accountable for all the stuff that he's saying. And those are very good things for any professional racer or soon-to-be professional racer like you, Bella, to be able to learn, because you can understand that you don't have to be mad at what you've done. You have to be accountable for it, and you have to have the drive to do it better like what Nic has.
Yeah, for sure.
So I really appreciate that mentality, Nic. I think that's going to take you very far, dude.
Oh, I appreciate that. We'll see here shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anybody you want to thank? I know that the guys helped you out quite a bit, and we didn't get to see Lindsay out there, but I hope she's watching.
Yeah, Lindsay's always around. She's a good hand, and again, I can't thank the Geyser team enough. We call him Cheeseburger. Brian Wibble's his name, but he takes care of the trucks, and they're his baby. So big thank you to him. Connor, who's my co-driver, I'm not sure if he's on here. I tried to text him earlier, but big thanks to him. He's part of keeping me sane while we're in the truck, and obviously, we're trying to keep it all together there in an intense 9 hours. So big thanks to him. KMC Wheels, thank you for helping out. VP Race Fuels, thank you for helping out. Big shout out to my family. They were up there on the weekend, and they came to the finish line, and we spent a couple of days in Tahoe after. And so
perfect.
Able to check
there's Connor right there. What's up, Connor? It's just cool to see you, man. The whole Rubik Racing team. Like, I can't wait to see you guys just keep excelling at the stuff that you're doing. We had a comment come in before, Bella. Did you see what it said? It said, "What's next for Nic?"
Oh yeah, what do you got going on next? What big races do you have planned?
So next race for me is going to be the California 300 of the Unlimited Series, and then I've had a couple of guys ask about potentially going into Baja to race the 1,000 with them. So we'll see what happens with that. Maybe Tracy Poole, or there's another team from Australia that threw a line out. So potentially we'll go down and do that. And then one of my favorite races of the year is Rage at the River at Laughlin. So it's carnage, man. And we take the family down there, and we camp, and we tear the front clip off the truck, and we tear all the panels off the truck, and we just go down there and have a good time. So we'll be at that one.
Sounds great.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, so since you aren't from the United States, we have this thing called Rapid Fire Q&A that we usually do at the end of the show with our guests. We're going to only do the top 5 questions, but are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, go with the first question, Bella.
Tacos or hot dogs?
Tacos.
Okay.
Big taco guy. Let's see here. Dunes or the river?
The river. I grew up on the river in South Australia, so I'm a river boy.
Yeah.
River rat.
Action shots or still shots?
Action shots.
Oh, big action shots guy, huh? Pizza rolls or jalapeno poppers?
Oh, man. Probably jalapeno poppers. I like them hot.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
okay,
a good one.
Okay.
British heritage being an Australian, but man, I can't handle the tea. I'm a coffee guy.
All right. What's your favorite movie, buddy? And that's it.
My favorite movie. Oh man, it fluctuates up and down, but it's got to be Forrest Gump.
Oh, Forrest Gump. Is that your favorite?
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
What, really? All
Forrest
right.
Gump, man. I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, buddy. I want to say it again. Like, dude, just seeing the level of execution that you showed on Friday was just amazing. You impressed a lot of people, and you really turned some heads. So, congratulations. Don't hold your head down for too long because the next race is coming up quick.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it, and really thanks to you guys for having me on the show. That's really cool. And I wanted to shout out to my business partner Tommy as well. He was in the other Rubik truck, and he's come a long way as well. So keep an eye out for him.
Hell yeah! All right, Nick. Well, thank you very much. We'll see you at the races, buddy.
Yes, sir. See you guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Take care, huh?
Bye. All right, Bella. So we have your guy coming on next, Josh Roe.
Josh Roe.
Let's see here. So we'll get Josh lined up real quick. And thank you guys very much for sticking with us during this whole show because we messed it up at the beginning. So we really appreciate you guys being flexible on your guys' time as well. All right, Bella, go for it. Here's Josh Roe.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
What's up, Josh? Hey, first and foremost, Bella's going to give you an intro, but first and foremost, congratulations, dude. You were just straight ripping.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're pretty excited.
Wait, look where he's sitting.
In the car.
No way.
In his trophy.
Yes. Dude, that's already a win in our book. We don't even need to do an interview. He's already got the best picture right here. We can default it. All right, go for it, Belle.
Josh Roe is from El Cajon. He's been racing for 19 years. He has experienced a couple years of the tough race we all know, Vegas Torino. But just this last weekend, Josh and their crew overall the UTV's Vegas Torino 2024.
Yeah, baby. Good job.
That deserves a round of applause.
Thank you.
Hey, dude, you're a big moto guy too, huh, Josh?
Yeah, grew up racing quads professionally, and then kind of switched from the quads over to dirt bikes, pre-running down in Baja on dirt bikes. I've done the rip with Cameron a few times, and just kind of dabble in all of it. I'm just love anything with wheels that wants to move across the desert. I'm about it.
Do you have a favorite one? Well, the UTV is probably your favorite this week, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Sometimes it's pretty frustrating, but this weekend was good. I mean, honestly, they all have their pluses and minuses. I have a great time on any one that I'm on. So I've been fortunate enough to be on good equipment over the years. So any one of them has really been pretty good. So
I agree, but I still say this, like I love 4-wheel racing, but I'm still a dirt bike guy at heart.
Yeah. You get on a good single track down in Baja and overlooking the ocean. I don't know. It's pretty tough to beat.
Bella, doesn't that sound nice?
Even if I gotta try it out.
Even if you're taking the mini bike, it's fun.
I don't know.
Hit them with your questions, girl.
All right, I got a lot of questions, but first I kind of want to jump straight into the race recap.
Yep.
Just to see if it was a smooth ride. Did you have any mishaps? What kind of happened?
So we've kind of gotten. This is a totally new program with Mitchell and myself and Cameron, and this whole new platform has been a little different for me. So I've just been getting used to it with the shifting and all the good stuff. But so throughout we probably took off the start line, and about 10 miles in, I started seeing some temp issues, and obviously it was a super hot day, so I was a little concerned about temp issues. So we were trying to keep our temp issues down, and we were trying to kind of back out of the pedal, and obviously we want to get to the finish line. So, thankfully we were able to run it up around 90 miles an hour for the majority of the day, but it just felt, those long roads, you're only doing 90. It feels like you're just a sitting duck, So we're I'd say it was probably about mile or pit 5, we got into a physical battle with Maxxis Eddy. And if you rewind about 2-3 years ago, Max and I went like toe to toe in the naturally aspirated class. So I knew Max was going to be going to the front. So I kind of just latched onto the kind of what Ryan was saying about, that guy. He started ahead of me. I kind of latched onto his dust line, and we just started working our way through the pack. And we got up to, it was just after race mile 5 when I caught up to the back of Max. I just caught a rock on the left front and tried to stay calm, and we had to jump out and change the flat. And that was kind of like our only really big issue throughout the day. Obviously the temps not being able to push the car wide open, but just kind of kept plugging away. We got to, I'd say, pit 12 and put the last can of fuel in the car. And that literally our pits were just like radio silent. We've had over the years, they'll kind of, hey, you're this close, keep pushing, and then something happens and then, everything goes away. So they were super quiet and they were just like, go have fun. I'm like, okay, I know we're working in the right direction here. And yeah, we came through pit 13 and they were like, hey, it looks like uncorrected. You're like right there. So it actually, I've kind of gotten stuck in this situation before. I don't know if you guys know Bo Barron, but I've raced him many years on quads. And I always felt that he always would catch the lappers at the perfect point, and I would always catch him at the wrong point. And I watched Max as we were heading up the rocky uphill. He caught a truck, or like one of the 4,400 trucks, and I saw that happen. And I saw it all like replay in my head, and I was like, oh no, I can't do this. Like I kind of looked over at my buddy Preston, and Preston is very, very good at keeping me calm. I like so badly want to just push the car to its limit just so quickly. And he's like, no, like just, back off. So we had to push through his dust. I mean, we tried everything because, I mean, he's still got a race going too. So it's hard to discredit him for, what he's trying to do. So it's like, we're trying to, and thankfully just at the top of the hill, he let us by. And I knew from that point on, like it was going to be just a drag race to the finish. And I just kind of drove that thing like it was probably its last race, but it was a lot of fun. We got to the finish and it was really cool to hear that at the end.
Well, Sadie said that she just chimed in right now, and she said that she's got the car in the garage and it looks like it could do another 500 miles. So you must have drove it pretty smooth the whole time, huh?
Yeah, it was. I guess I'm one of those people too when I race in anything else as well. Like you feel like you hit something, you get out and you're like, oh, it's just a little nick, So it was good. The car was unbelievable. Mitchell built an absolutely perfect car. I mean, I never even threw a wrench at the thing. I just full trust in him. He's like, just go drive it. Don't even stress on anything. So it's a lot of fun having that kind of trust and just being able to just focus on my driving, and Preston calling the notes. I mean, Preston, I was listening to Ryan and how they, how you have to stay like, to drive that long and not make a little mistake. I mean, one little mistake, you're out. Like so trying to stay like present and not make any of those mistakes is so tough. You catch yourself wandering and you gotta, bring it back, so.
Well, yeah. Bella, we were talking about it before the show, even like the pace in the UTV class, Josh, is like, well, here, let me use some stats kind of, I guess, or some examples. There was a lot of people that DNF the race. Yep. The reason that those good guys DNF the race is because the pace is so fast, you don't have a choice. You have to go all out, or you're not gonna win, right? So we took off the start line, and I mean, it's like you're saying. I mean, we literally took off the start line. I put it to the floor, and I'm like, okay. And then that was when we started seeing the temps rise, and it was like almost. I mean, I would say almost that maybe that those temps rising and me not being comfortable pushing the car to that extent might have been like the blessing in disguise, where I was kind of letting out of it instead of thinking like, oh, it'll take it, So it is so crazy how fast. I mean, you literally, I thought like, it's so crazy now that a 550-mile race, I thought one flat tire was going to take us out of it. Like that's how, before it was like, oh, you could, have this issue, have that issue, a couple tires, and oh, you still got a chance at it. Like now it's like, if you're not, perfect. I mean, and I was kind of talking my buddy Schwick, he's always done my fuel stops, and he takes pride in being able to sling those 11-gallon cans around like, that I can't even pick one up myself. And I told him at the beginning of the day, I'm like, hey dude, like this is going to be like NASCAR today. Like you're going to have to be perfect. And he's like, I know. Like he's always game for it. So to be able to pull it off, especially with all these super good competition, it's really cool. I was really, really excited.
Yeah.
It's super cool. And you got to experience a lot of that track, the track and the gnarliness of the terrain as well. Did you guys go full mat? Because he had to.
Definitely not full mat. The one time we tried to go full mat, we ended up with a flat. But I was actually going to talk about that a little bit. Because you previously raced Vegas Torino, did you notice a lot of like changes in the terrain compared to like last year or the year before?
Yeah, and I do think a lot of that plays into our advantage. Like you over the years, you kind of you get into sections and you're very familiar of the section. So I've won Vegas Torino 3 times in the pro quad class. So doing all those sections again in the car, you get a lot more comfort and a lot more just, I don't know, you're a lot more aware, especially when you're in the dust. Okay, downhill sand wash, I'm going to drop down here, and you're a lot more like comfortable, I guess. So, yeah, I mean the terrain, yes, I mean all the washes that don't have a rut in them. I was actually talking to my buddy who he Ironman the motorcycle class, and he was like, "Hey, did you see He's like, I couldn't believe this wash. There wasn't a track in it. Like, how was it for you guys?" I was like, "Oh, well, we went through in the after the trucks." I'm like, it's like a full 2-track rut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it looks like 1,000 cars been through there. So yeah, it's definitely the all the rain and everything definitely makes a big difference.
It's kind of crazy to think like how much different each individual person's race actually is.
Yeah.
So like, let's just say Josh's race compared to Ryan Arciero or Nic Whetstone's race compared to your race compared to the dirt bike guy's race compared
All
to
the different perspectives.
Oh,
yeah, it's
absolutely.
like what Josh is saying. Like you don't really ever think about it, but it literally is a completely different track from 6 in the morning to 12 in the
100%.
middle of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling my buddy who did it on the dirt bike, I'm like, if you tried to go race that track on a dirt bike after the trucks have gone through, I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say there's little basketballs that are just sitting in the middle of the racetrack. And like, if those were there on the dirt bike, like if you're in any slight dust, like you're gonna be hurting,
Yeah.
So it's, those are what essentially like gives us flats. If we're pushing in the dust and these things are just hanging out, like it's the scariest thing ever, but that's just, I guess, kind of the risk we take. I mean, I was listening to Ryan talk about, trusting in his co-driver. Like there's so many sections of that race course that, I mean, I'm literally just like he's saying, I'm like, all right, what are we seeing? And he's just, he's essentially the one holding the wheel. Like, I mean, he's just, telling me what's going on, and I'm just completely trusting him because I can't see the hood of the car. So it's just, it's something.
Full faith in your co-drivers. Crazy. Not many people would understand that. They're like, what's the point of, co-navigating if you...
Yeah, can't you just drive, bro?
Can't you just drive it yourself?
I used to think when we first switched over to the naturally aspirated car, like you're only doing 75, 80 in like the naturally aspirated car. So I always was like, when I switched from the quad, I was like, oh, like, I mean, he would like, for the most part, he'd sit there and we'd just drive and we get into a little dust, and then he'd shout some stuff out, and then we'd drive for the next couple hours. And now that we're doing, 105 miles an hour, like it's crazy, the element. Like I never thought I'd mentally get as drained just from like, oh, I've done it all on the bike and quad, like I can do this like physically. Like now it's crazy how draining it is. Just all you're doing is just sheer focus because you're going so fast. Like it's just a different animal.
Yeah.
What other questions did you have for him, Belle?
I do have a lot more.
She does. She got
Sorry, I'm taking it up.
No,
you're
not.
good.
It was a good interview.
What do you think, Krista?
Well, I would actually like to talk about this a little bit. So Bella's got a general question about like making the switch from 2 wheels to 4 wheels, or from handlebars to a steering wheel. I want to know, just kind of like what you were talking about right now, what you have to do to change in your mindset, because I went through the same process and I love hearing this. You're out by yourself on a dirt bike, or you're with somebody else inside of a car or a truck, right? You have a lightweight machine with only 2 wheels. You have a heavy machine with 4 wheels. The dynamics of it are different. Like there's so many different things. How do you change your focus and your skill set and your mindset in your head? Because that, to me, is more than the physical.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I struggled with, honestly, was I could always, on a motorcycle or a quad, I could always make a motorcycle or a quad work. I could adjust my body. I could slip the clutch. I could move my body weight here. I could, wheelie through this stuff. I can change those things. When you strap into these cars, like if the car's not working, like you're sitting dead in the water. There's nothing you can do, So, and then also I think like a lot of the big things, and one of the really cool things that I like about the Maverick R is now being able to shift. So before when I would drive like the CVT car, you're accelerating through, say you're accelerating through the rocks. Well, everything is revving. So like, it'd be like, say you go through a rock section on a dirt bike, you're in second gear, you're revving and the bike is loaded. Everything is, it's chattering. You're getting a lot of feedback. Well, the dirt bike or like the Maverick R, you can short shift it and it will just settle the whole car down. So it's cool to be able to like, kind of take that dirt bike mentality over to the car and really, use a lot of my skills that I used. I don't know. I guess that's like a really, really loaded question, but it's
I love just hearing that because you're right. And we just talked about it a little bit with Nic Whetstone. We talked about those little minute details, right? And let's just say that you were driving a CVT vehicle, and there's nothing bad about them. I have one, but it would have been different for you. A lot of the little minute details that you used in your skill set to win this last race was because of the tool set that you were provided. And that tool set gave you the capabilities to do it the way that you wanted to. You kept more rolling speed. You unloaded the car when it needed to be. You loaded it when it needed to be.
Yep.
And all of these different little things made that much of a big difference over that, well, let's just say 10-hour period.
Right. Yeah, it's something like, and how Ryan was saying how he's, sitting out of the other guys, the dust and not trying to push in the dust and trying to, hold yourself to, not make that mistake and not push yourself too early and know when to like, all right, this last 50 miles, like it's either going on the trailer or we're doing this, so it's hard to really like trust yourself and knowing like the amount of time and effort that you've put into this stuff and how much you gotta like really believe in yourself and go execute, which is, it's hard after you've been doing it for 9 hours to go try and, really dial yourself in.
Yeah, 100%. If you were going to give to the younger crowd, if you were going to give some advice on how to be able to manage a race like the way that you did, how would you tell them to do it, or what would you suggest?
I mean, I think it's time and doing it. Cause like, I mean, even over the years of doing it, right. It took me so long to just every race. Like you're going to learn something every time you go out and race. You're going to learn, when to push, when not to push, how to save your vehicle. Like you were talking about with, the last trophy truck guy, like how you're saving your equipment. You're not pushing the drivetrain too hard. You're doing all those things. Like there's so many little things that I feel like are like so ingrained from me from being like from when I was young and I was starting to do it to like now to where it's like, oh yeah, I've gone and broke that. I've gone and done that, like you learn all those things and what makes things last. And it's just that's where like, I feel like it's going to be wild for like the younger generation coming up. Cause like, all the equipment has evolved so crazy that like, it's like, I mean, if you're not, like I was saying, I mean, if you don't nail it that day, like you're going to be a top 5 guy. Like you're just, that's just where it is. It's like, and when you do it perfect, it's just, you gotta really have and that's what, like, there's so many variables in off-road. Like if Schwick wouldn't have had a can, loaded with enough fuel, if we would have had, all these different things that, are going on that, if one of those things is wrong, we're not having a conversation today.
Yeah, but it's cool. Bella, it's so crazy. And like, you get to experience it. You get to experience it from the driver's seat. You know how hard your crew works.
Oh yeah. The amount of hands that get used that weekend is insane. From pitting to loading snacks to doing camel packs.
Loading snacks, most important.
Oh yeah.
Number one job.
Gotta have them. Yeah, all my pit crew, whether it's down in Baja, Best in the Desert, anything like that, is all my family and friends. My wife and my 3-year-old and all my friends. They all show up to help. They're all super knowledgeable. I'd trust them with anything on any of my cars. And I'm just I've got a really cool core group of family and friends around me that really want to see me and Preston do well. And it's really cool to do it for them because I feel like it's been a while. So it's cool to kind of pay them back that way.
It's definitely a team win, and the high lasts all all month.
Yeah, I don't think it still hit me. It's pretty exciting. I've waited a
You
long time
landed
to be able to put something like this
you
together.
landed on the you landed on the top, and there was a massive amount of competition. So you should be very proud of yourself.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, so we are going to get the guy that you're battling with all day, Maxxis Eddy, on here in just a little bit. But I want to say, Josh, before you take off, first and foremost, it was nice being able to talk with you a little bit. Like, as a human being, I really like your attitude and stuff. And Bella has been wanting to do a little bit more stuff with her Bella's Corner segment on the Dirt Life show, and she wants to get more in depth with people. I think it would be really cool if you guys lined up a show and we could actually sit down for an hour or something, and Bella could give you some serious questions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd be more than willing.
Yeah,
Really excited. That'd be super cool. It was an honor meeting you. I'm super happy I'm talking to you and stuff.
Yeah, and hey, dude, congratulations. You should live that this whole week, man.
Thank
you. On your performance.
Super.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
All right.
We really appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
All right. See ya.
Bye, Josh.
Bye.
All right. So let's get Maxxis Eddy on here, and then I think Austin Eddy's going to join us too. Yeah, here's Austin and Max. We'll get Max on, and then we'll get Austin. We'll talk to these boys, man. It's so cool. Don't you get like a little heartfelt, like get stoked when you hear all these conversations?
Yeah.
All right, so we have Maxxis Eddy. What's up, buddy?
Nothing much. Just
hey, put your phone down a little bit so we can see a little bit more of your face.
Let me got this set up in my
We got Austin. Oh, I didn't tell Austin. Oh, there he is. All right. Austin, what's up, man?
What's going on, George?
What's up, dude? Are you guys at the same spot or no?
No, I was out at dinner. I'm leaving right now.
Oh, right on. What'd you eat?
Dinopolis in Barstow.
Oh.
There you go. All right, so let's get into this on the real though. So, Maxxis Eddy and Austin Eddy, first and foremost, boys, congratulations. You guys had an insanely hard-fought battle. It wasn't just the top two; it was almost the whole top five all day. You guys had a couple issues that held you back a little bit, but Max, tell us a little bit about the race.
Man, it started with qualifying. I'm a desert racer. We don't get to qualify very often, so qualifying still us. Luckily, hey, beat it. Sorry, my dog growling at me. Luckily we landed inside the top 15 at qualifying, which gave us a decent spot for the start. And actually, it's probably right where we wanted to be. We are kind of right at, everyone in front of us was super fast, and I knew if we just latched on to that group, then we should be able to just mosey our way up towards the front and run with those guys.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't that easy though. You guys had an insanely, high speed. Like, dude, the competition and the level of the pace was just, dude, it was balls to the wall. Can you give us a little bit of an understanding of how that was, Austin?
Yeah, it was.
Well, let's let Austin say it from the passenger seat first, Max, and then we'll go to you because you were the man with the throttle.
Yeah, these new Polaris cars, they're solid. We raced the NA car last time at this race, and it was like we had to like kind of back it down and like save the car. But no, these new cars, it's just wide open. You don't care about nothing really. You just who can go the fastest.
Yeah.
Well, who can go the fastest is up to who's going to push the pedal down hard enough, Max. So that's what I was saying. Like, I don't understand how the pace has gotten this fast in my mind, but you've been part of it. Like, you're driving the force, like you're setting the pace. Like, it is so dang fast now.
Yeah, it totally is. 2 years ago in the NA car, we battled with Josh, and I was like, man, this is a pretty fast pace, and I was like, I don't know how these cars can survive. Well, it's crazy. We're still saying that, and we're going 40, 50 mile an hour faster than we were in the NA cars. I think we hit a top speed of 110 across one of the lake beds in the Pro-R, and it's just crazy that what these things will take. You don't have to be nice to them. You don't have to. I think the mentality a few years ago was like, all right, let's save the car. Whoever saves the car and gets it to the finish line is going to do pretty good. And that's not the mentality anymore. It's who go drive the fastest, you know?
Does that change the way that you go about the race?
Yeah, of course. You know, and obviously we do a lot more racing down in Baja, and the mentality is not the same down there. You know, Baja's a lot rougher than Vegas Torino, and takes a different kind of driving style to race down in Mexico. But Vegas Torino was a 555-mile sprint race. It really was, you know, and we unfortunately got stuck behind a slower car in the dust for 150 miles and ultimately ended up getting 2 flat tires because of it. Total driver error. It's 100% my fault. Just trying to get impatient in the dust. And I was listening to Josh, you know, and Nic and the Rubik's truck and Arciero about just being patient in the dust, man. And you feel the race slipping away from your hands while you're just sitting in the dust doing 40, 50 miles an hour. You're doing a lot slower than what you really want to be doing, you know, and it's hard to remain patient for that long. But we almost...
Well, it's kind of give and take though, right? Because like the difference between the win and the loss, or the second place, not a loss, but the first and second place time split was, I think it was just at a minute. Like, it was so small. And your mindset, you can't change the way that you were thinking, because that minute could have been gained or lost right there in that second.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, honestly, it's a matter of if Josh would have got stuck behind that Ultra 4, that could have lost the race for him. You know, if he stuck behind that truck for another 2 miles, that would have been it. And it's a matter of just being, you know, having a ton of racecraft and like, all right, how do I get around this guy? You know, we followed this guy for that same Ultra 4 truck that Josh was talking about. We followed him up this hill, pushing the push to pass, trying to get around him. We knew we had to make up 4 minutes and 16 seconds in the last 80 miles. Our last fuel pit is the last time I seen Josh. I was getting a re-rack from my flat tire, and Josh pulls in right in front of me, and I seen his pit guy with their dump can, and I'm getting a re-rack, and I took off, and then Adam Arsenal, our operations director, came over the radio and told me I was 4th overall on corrected time, and I'm 4 minutes and 16 seconds down from the leader, Josh Roe. And I looked at Austin. I said, well, we got to go for it, you know? And we got stuck behind that Ultra 4 for a little bit and had to get crafty to get his attention to get out of the way. And we did that. And I was like, well, Josh is a good buddy of mine. I've raced against him for a long time, but I hope he gets stuck behind that guy a lot longer than we did.
That's kind of crazy though, dude, to think about. Like, Austin, you guys made up all of that time. Like, it's not easy to make up 3-4 minutes in any desert race, let alone Vegas Torino, where you're just matted the whole time.
Yeah, no, after that last pit, we kind of just put our heads down, went to work, and everything was just flowing. Everything was just going perfect, and we made up quite a bit of time, and not quite enough, but enough to be second on the box.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy though. Like, how did you guys do inside the cockpit, Max? Like, what's your guys' conversation like going, all right, we got to make up 4 minutes. What the fuck are we going to do? And then you guys just tell each other, all right, we got to do this, this, and this. And then you just go and mark off the checklist.
You know, I think it's just quiet. We got it over the radio, and everything gets quiet in the car. And Austin just, you know, he's super consistent with his notes and his calls and stuff. And it feels like everything just starts to flow, you know, like the calls he's calling out match the corners or match the braking when I need to get on the brakes for a danger or something like that. And it's just, everything flows. And honestly, like that last 80 miles was just, it was quiet in the car, and we're just going for it, you know, and being at night, you know, and trying to push through the darkness, and the dust lingers a lot longer at night, you know, so it's a little harder, but I love racing at night, and it's one of my favorite things to do. And it seems when you got a good navigator and co-driver like Austin, I mean, we just got our GoPro video back of some of our race, from our guy Nelson, and we got 2 flat tires. Both flat tires were changed in 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 15-second tire changes. That's out of the car. Both of us out of the car, and both of us back in the car. And so, we used all that stuff just to get better and stuff. But a 2-minute tire change in a UTV is pretty good. I know the truck guys got it down like a minute, but
well, unfortunately, we don't have big old, whatever they are, 700, 400 watt jacks that'll push up a whole 7,000 pound trophy truck on the UTVs, right?
Yep.
It is cool to hear that, because in my racer brain, I'm washed up now, but still in my racer brain, I can kind of feel it, what you guys are saying about being in the flow and just understanding how the car works. And even though it's at night and it's dark, I can kind of just see, you're moving slow on the steering wheel. You're kind of just, your motions are just fluid. That's got to feel pretty good. And it almost makes you feel like, why the fuck couldn't I have just drove that whole way the whole time?
Yeah. And it is you got times, right? You got 550 miles to make a mistake or just be calm in the car. And I feel when everything's flowing, it's your heart rate's low, your focus is on point, and you're not getting excited. But the second you get in someone's dust, all that changes. You can't see, your heart rate goes up, you start to get impatient, and you start to make mistakes. And unfortunately, doing this for so long, I still do that, and that's exactly what I did at this race. It definitely cost us the overall win, and got Polaris Factory Racing our first loss. I think Josh will live that up for a while, and if someone was going to give us our first loss, I don't think I could find a better person that I would, be willing to admit that to, other than Josh Roe, for sure.
Well, I will say this, though. Josh, he did do a fantastic job, right? He gave everybody a run for their money, and he drove a great race. But I will say this, your accountability is very impressive, because you are holding yourself to a higher standard, and you want to make sure that you don't make those same mistakes in the future, and that you are a better racer in the future. So that's appreciative, and that's what we always try to tell people on Dirt Life Show is, if you have something to learn, be a sponge and listen to those professional racers when they are accountable for their stuff. So thank you for saying all that. One of the things that I do want to talk about, though, is Ryan Arciero and Nic Whetstone talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show, and that's the pace versus the race strategy, right? The pace is so high, it almost makes you feel like you have to throw the race strategy out the window and then just go balls to the wall. But you can't. You and Austin and the whole Polaris Factory team have to still stick to a certain level of plan so that you have the accuracy and reliability to get to the finish line. So how do you guys manage all of that?
I think I like to call it like a floating race strategy or a floating pace. You got to adapt to the pace, or you got to adapt to a new strategy that might be a little bit faster than you want to go, right? Especially at this race, because track position is extremely important. Track position could gain you 5 minutes or lose you 5 minutes if you're in the dust, So obviously, just like as the race goes on, your strategy changes, and you got to adapt to a new pace or a new strategy or whatever, whether it's, holding that track position so you don't get caught up in the dust for, 150 miles. So it all just changes constantly every mile.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Are you able to adapt that quickly, Austin? Or how do you guys manage that from the co-driver's seat? Because everything is, like Max is saying, it's changing so quickly.
Yeah, I think I don't remember the question, but yeah, I think we just get in that flow really and just start going. Everything just clicks, and yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah,
I don't remember the question.
I guess it is, right? And you guys are so natural at it, because you guys have been doing it on dirt bikes and in all these different vehicles for so long. I guess it is. It's just it just clicks. It just hits that way. Let's just say that you were in the driver's seat in the factory Polaris car, Bella. How would you manage that?
I think
you take direction from the team? Do you make your own decisions? Do you listen to your co-driver?
Definitely from the team. I feel like being open-minded is a big deal, especially in the racing industry. That way you have so many like just points of view.
Yeah.
It betters yourself, but
and you can be a sponge. So
yeah.
Those types of things are always interesting for me to hear from the younger generation. Max, what kind of stuff would you give as advice to somebody like Bella that's going to, try to shoot for being a professional driver like yourself in the future?
Man, just keep after it. Keep every time you get behind the wheel, learn something, ask advice, talk to people. Just be open-minded and hang out with the best of the best. And you're gonna learn, and just watching what people do and being observant is unreal. Yeah. Sometimes it answers your own question. You don't even got to ask. Like you're just sitting there watching, like, oh man, I seen that. Just be super observant.
Yeah, totally. Hey, we're gonna do two things. We got to have Bella's Corner. We got Sam Road coming on here in a little bit. But I wanted to mention a couple things. I was wondering if there was something in the water up in Barstow that's making these mustaches look so great.
Well, we knew Vegas Torino was going to be pretty Western, so we had to play the part.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. All right,
getting mine ready for Baja.
Oh, are you?
Okay.
400.
Nice. That's perfect. Vegas Torino is just the sprint race for your mustache?
Yep.
I got it. Oh, and what's a milk stash? I don't get it, but it's funny. All right. Hey, so we keep forgetting sometimes about asking these rapid fire questions at the end. Max, you've answered some of them, but Bella's going to ask a couple questions. Why don't you start with Max first and then go to Austin?
All right, Max.
You can ask whatever you want.
Ooh. Supercross or motocross?
Moto.
Okay.
Motocross.
Okay.
Let's go with Austin this one.
All right, Austin. Chips and guacamole or fries and ketchup?
Chips and guacamole.
Okay.
Ooh, all day. We can still be friends, buddy. So I tell everybody. All right,
Go
here.
for you
Favorite
first.
snack, Max.
What's that?
Favorite snack.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
Ooh,
That's the
pretty good.
racer's favorite.
Yeah. What about Uncrustables? Do you ever get those at the pits?
I had a pack of them in my ice chest.
All right, Austin. Netflix or YouTube?
YouTube.
All right. Do the superpower one.
All right. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Max.
See you in the future.
Oh.
Ooh, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
I have that one too.
All right, ask Austin one more, and then we're going to be out.
Austin, same one?
No, you can ask him whatever you want.
What other form of racing would you like to try?
Other form of racing. Probably like downhill mountain bike, something like that.
Okay.
I don't know, dude. What if you could do like Dakar? What if you could do those like speedboats that go like super crazy across those like Louisiana swamps? Those things look so gnarly.
Yeah. Or probably downhill mountain bike.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he's gonna pick mountain bike, but I think his stash is going Louisiana speedboats. Hey, boys. Hey, again, dude, you guys did a fantastic job, and I will say this. It doesn't matter what place you finish because holy fuck, you guys are hauling ass. The insane pace is just, it blows me away. So I can't wait to see you guys on top of the box.
Congratulations, you guys.
My car is amazing. I think all of our mechanics at Polaris Factory Racing are top notch, and my Casey Sims is my mechanic. He's a racer himself, so he gets it, man. And our car was flawless, and even after the race, I think he's gonna wash it off, and we're going straight to the 400 with it.
Dude, that's so cool, man. Yeah, he does a great job. So, all right, boys. Well, thank you very much. We'll see you guys in the races. All right, man. We'll see you guys sooner.
Sounds good, Georgie. Thank you.
See you later, guys. All right, so before we get Sam on, we're going to talk a little bit more about the sponsorship summit real quick. And so I told Alex you could just have like 60 seconds, or we could just do 60 seconds because tomorrow's going to be really important for helping spread the word on how people can improve their race program. So I wanted to give a little shout out to it on the Dirt Life.
All right, let's do it.
Alex, it just said that it declined you on the invite, so please update your Instagram app. And to do that, you just have to go to your apps on your iPhone and then update it. And so we'll talk about it just a little bit before we get Sam on. The sponsorship summit, what it does is we get, or Alex gets all of these different marketing, vice presidents of marketing people, athlete managers, all these different things. He's got people from Ford. He's got people from all kinds of different companies that will come on and they'll talk to you about it. Matt Martelli is going to come on. Let me see who else we have. Or Alex can tell us a little bit more about who we have coming on. But all of these people will give you guys advice on how to get sponsored and what they want in their sponsorship program. So it's pretty cool to be able to get all of that information. Let's see if we can get Alex on now. Because like when I was racing, I would have loved to have this information.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't able to ever get that stuff. So did I change it?
I have no idea.
What the heck happened to the light? So we'll see if we can get Alex on here. If we can't get him, unfortunately, it's not coming up. So all right, well let's just get Sam on here, and then we will. Is she on here? Oh wait, there it is. Let's get Samantha on. Do you want to ask her if she likes Sam or Samantha better?
Yeah, I should.
What the heck did I do to change the way it looks?
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I didn't know if you were going to invite my other Instagram or this one, so I was confused.
Oh,
but we got it.
I know. Yeah, I was. Also, do you go by, what do you prefer, Sam or Samantha?
Sam.
Okay. That's what I figured, but I got a really sick intro for you, so I'm going to bust that out real quick. But Sam is from Wisconsin. She works for Evolution Power Sports, as you all know. Super involved in the athletes program at sales department, going to events, races, stuff like that. So Vegas Torino being one of them. She co-dogged for Jacob Sucone, who placed second in the super stock class, right behind his dad, Todd Sucone. But how are you?
Still like feeling the post-race high that comes with everything. This was my first full desert race co-driving, and it was one of those that I looked at Todd before we got into staging, and I was like, I have no idea what I just said yes to, do I? And he's like, no. I was like, all right, cool, let's do this.
Very spontaneous. I love it.
Yeah.
It was super cool to see. And you know what's funny too is like I didn't really talk to Todd or Jacob or anybody much before the race, and I saw Sam coming with her gear bag, and I go, no way, this is so rad. Like, how cool is this that Sam gets to be able to get in the car and just have a good time at Vegas Torino? Did you think that the pace was pretty fast, Sam?
So actually, there's a couple different things that happened. After pit 1 and before pit 3, we had some steering issues. So we didn't really get a chance to go super fast. And then around mile marker 350, we completely lost our front diff. So for us, it was pretty, I think the top speed that we hit was maybe like 86, 87. Nothing too crazy, but.
That's pretty fast in the supercar.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
It was
cool. We got to watch them too on the live.
Oh, I was really concerned about that in-car audio.
You got to be careful.
That would be one of my concerns as well.
Sam's got to be careful with her Wisconsin accent. Because stuff can be construed a little bit different.
I do. And at night when the field mice came out, we were singing Little Bunny Foo Foo. At one point, Jacob did not have an opportunity to get in his head with how many different things were coming up with, when we would call out turns or when something would come up. It was like Ric Flair woos every time we hit a jump. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we kind of do the same thing. Every time me and my co-driver Dylan Lundberg, we make the 100-mile mark, we'll fist bump or we'll be like booyah, or I say something stupid. I always do, but
that's so fun.
Yeah,
it just adds a little spice.
Hey, what did you eat when you were in the car?
Yeah,
I didn't eat
at all.
No, I had a Camelback and I kept drinking.
You didn't have granola bars? You didn't have Uncrustables? Nothing?
No, nothing.
I had Skittles.
Dude.
That's what I wanted. I wanted Skittles, but I never got them. I had a bunch of stuff taped to the roof, though.
Yeah, that's what my mom does. She'll zip tie it, and then we'll...
When you were around Bella, you could have just, passed Skittles from car to car.
That would have been genius.
Yeah.
We messed up.
I know. It was really cool to see you out there, though, especially because you've always been on the sponsor perspective and, helping with the athletes program and everything, but going into the actual driving seat and kind of seeing like, like this perspective, how has that kind of changed for you, or like?
It's a whole new addiction.
Yeah.
So it really happened it happened more at Hammers. So when we went to King of Hammers for the first time this year as a company, being a part of the crew and seeing Todd and Jacob race together, it was so emotional, like the highs and the lows and just like where they are and watching them on a racing tracks and just all of it was just so intense. And then the Mint 400 came up and I got asked to co-drive in the Mint and I was like, okay, like I've never done this before, but okay. And Todd threw me and Billy Long in on that third lap. And that was amazing. That was like my first dip into it. And then when I was told 2 weeks ago that we were doing Vegas Torino. So I didn't really know. Yeah. George knows how things go with the Zacone. Sometimes it's just like last minute and it's go, go, go. So I quickly got everything together. It was really interesting how everything came together because I had taken a call from Sarah Price the week prior and I had told her that there was a chance that I was racing Vegas Torino. She connected me with Erica from Waypoint and she was a godsend. I took the class the Monday before we left and I learned so much.
Yeah.
And then I got my suit on Tuesday. I got my gear bag, I think, on Wednesday. And then we flew out on Thursday, got everything else, and then was able to get the notes put together, get everything loaded, and then got in the car on Friday and just did it.
Yeah.
It was wild.
That's so spontaneous, just like straight to the point.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. Especially going into a race, not knowing what's going to happen, and then coming out with, a podium spot, like super, super cool.
Yeah, it was wild. And it's so intense and just, we were talking about it after one of the days, just how you explain what you've done to somebody who hasn't done it. Because I don't come from a racing family. My brother does like Camaro stuff with the Crown Rally and with Gumball and stuff like that. My sister does barrel racing. But as far as my family goes, there's no racing ties to anything. So when I'm trying to explain this, it's so difficult because it's more than just, you and the driver going on the stage and doing all the stuff. It's the team and the teamwork and everything that goes into building it and getting everyone there. It's euphoric.
Yeah. And the adrenaline too, just everything about it.
Yeah.
I definitely give credit to all the other sports out there for sure, but it's very hard to explain basically the dirt life, like to explain being in a car and these constant battles that no one gets to see.
Well, we just talked about it a little bit with some of the other guys too, like nutrition, hydration, focus, like all these different things. Like, if you're tired and you drive from, let's just say, San Diego to Phoenix, that's like 5 hours or whatever it is, right? Or Los Angeles to Phoenix, 6 hours. And you get tired.
Yeah.
Well, think of that times 50, 100. Like that's what's happening inside an off-road car. And one of the things that I think is so cool is like there's all kinds of different ways to manage it. Sam manages it differently than you. You manage it differently than I do. And it's just when you get the good team together, it makes the most insane difference. And at the end, you all feel like you achieved something.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I got a lot more questions for you.
She's got a good lineup, Sam. She's got a good lineup.
I'm here for it.
Speaking of adrenaline, I know you personally, so it's a little bit different, but I know you do a lot of really fun things outside of racing and outside of the racing world. Give everybody a little idea of what you do for fun.
So prior to this and, going into like the heat of the desert and stuff like that, I actually just came off of a 3,000-mile motorcycle adventure where we left from St. Paul, Minnesota. Yeah, it was wild. That was also very intense. We left from St. Paul, Minnesota, and we rode to Niagara Falls, of all places.
Insane.
Yeah, and then we ended up at the Harley-Davidson homecoming, and then after that, we just buzzed out to Mitchell, South Dakota for the pre-Sturgis party. So, I mean, motorcycling that's where I started with the power sports is in, motorcycles. It's just where everything kind of started.
Right, and then it kind of just leaked into the off-road racing world. Who did you kind of meet and then decided, hey, I want to get into this program. I like it.
So funny story. I started selling cars and, car sales is, ugh. And then I moved into selling Harleys and then I became the business manager. And through that, like I've had a passion for motorcycles my entire life, and Jesse Combs has always been my idol. And it's wild because when COVID hit, you know, everybody experienced some sort of job loss, and I was one of those people. And I had kind of just let it go for a while, went to Arizona for a month and saw a job posting at Evolution Power Sports and just applied and did an interview and took the job. And that was June 8th of 2020. So it's 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what changed my entire life.
Yeah. That's super cool.
Yeah.
To be able to build a sponsorship like that. And now you're out here co-driving for some of the ambassadors for it.
Yeah.
So
it's insane. And you know what? I was thinking about that today because, you know, leading up to this podcast and stuff, and it was really George and Jen's podcast that he did on Soul Seekers that kind of like tailspinned everything, because they were talking about, you know, divine appointments and things like that. And I really, it kind of, like everything kind of like was sent home with how everything happens and how people meet certain people and these different connections that you make and how they lead to other things. And everything just kind of led us here.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think everything happens for a reason. Blessings in disguise.
Yes.
Things might seem a little bit hard to grasp or understand in the moment, but then years down the road, you're like, dang, well, that actually really worked out. So
it's kind of crazy.
Exactly.
Sam and I have talked about this before, but like you got to ride the wave sometimes and like just be able to be like, let life show you where you need to go sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of different things that have happened in my life and your life, right? And you're just like, dude, I'm so down in the dumps. And then all of a sudden something picks you up and sends you out like on the right path. And seeing the smile on her face this weekend, like when she had her gear bag, like you could tell she was a little nervous, but she was good to go, and she was had like this confidence, you know, this little swagger. Like you see all those things and you're like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be.
yeah.
Oh, pulled on my heartstrings.
But it's seriously, that's the way it's supposed to be, right? And you felt like that before. Like
No, definitely.
those things have come up, and it's meaningful because when you have that accomplishment, like what she felt at the finish line, dude, smiles for days.
Yeah. I definitely
Yeah,
feel that way about racing for sure, but I'd say that that feeling mostly comes from the podcast. Like, well, because it kind of just started off as like a, you know, we'll just do this for fun and see where it goes and stuff. And now I think about it on a daily, so.
You're passionate about it.
Yeah, yes.
Well, that's the reason why she's succeeding with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're passionate about something, it's not easy to be successful, but it makes you strive to want to be successful.
Hey, so let's ask Sam this question. So when you're passionate about something, you want to learn about it, right?
Yes.
And I told you today that I thought your path should be a little bit different than doing race recaps, right? Sam, what would you like to see from an interview from Bella? Like if she was going to take 2 hours out of her life to interview somebody, do you think it should be in depth? Do you think it should be surface level? Do you think it should be about racing? Do you think it should be about health, fitness? Like how do you see something like where Bella's going?
I definitely fall for the in-depth ones. I think I watched it like 2 years ago, but it's one that I still think about every once in a while. But it's that one YouTube about Brian Deegan, where it really goes into like his history and his life and stuff like that. That like things like that really resonate with me personally. But I also am not really a surface level, type. I don't really gravitate to things like that. But anything that's in depth, like the guys prior to even me coming on, they had a lot of great information about things like where they got the information from and then passing it on to you. I think that like things like that are really cool.
Yeah, me too.
See, that's what people want, Bella. You got to do it. Follow your path.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Do you got anything to ask her?
No, I just wanted to see like what she thought of the race, right? Like, so I don't want to call you like a beginner or a novice or anything like that. But compared to the guests that are on the show before, right? Like we've got some really professional co-drivers. How did you see the track and how did you feel like the pace was? Like what were your what was your overall feeling of how the race went? And my follow-up question is going to be, what do you think you could have done better?
Of course. So the overall pace, I know that, Jacob wanted to really let it go, but consistency, I felt like was going to get us to the finish line. And I know a lot of people go in with like checkers or wreckers type of a mentality on it. And I had an internal goal, and it was to get Jacob as close to Todd as possible. And going into it, I took what Erica had said, because she had given me a lot of pointers, because she's done Vegas Torino multiple times. And she said that last 50 miles is grueling. And I think I like subconsciously internalized that, because that last 50 miles, I got my second wind. And that's kind of when Jacob was kind of getting in his head a little bit, just because that last section was gnarly, like with the rocks and everything. And we thought that somebody in our class was coming up on us, and we just really dialed in and stuck to it. And he listened, and even though he was getting in his head about whether the car was going to fall apart or not, it was just keeping him calm and being like, dude, we're going to do this. We're going to get there. And we did. And that's what was so incredible about it. And I think that with Erica planting that seed, saying that it was the last grueling, I mean, I think that really kind of sent us home. Things that I can do better is definitely learning my lefts and rights a lot better. But I think that's what anybody.
It's constant.
Yeah, I mean, it made sense where everything was, you couldn't go right or you couldn't go left, but he understood the concept. But I reviewed a lot of other people's notes, and I know that I can do better notes. When talking to John Bray, who co-drives for Todd, he said that sometimes less is more. And there was, in the beginning section, I know I went really heavy on it. Towards the middle, I was kind of mediocre. And towards the end, there was just certain things that I wanted to make sure that I marked. And I think that I totally agree with him that less is more, because sometimes I can get really muddy on the screen. And then just calling out dangers a little bit better. But Jacob was really dialed in on everything. So, and together, prior to this, I had seen and talked to, other co-drivers and things like that with him, and they had given me some pointers, and we just worked so well together. And there was just certain sections that we were so dialed, and it was crisp and it was clean, and I couldn't have asked for a better driver to be thrown in with, because that's my first time ever riding with Jacob as well. And the fact that we just had so much trust and confidence in each other was really, really amazing.
You realize that you just ruined the whole family's week, because Jacob's going to have all this confidence. Now he's going to be walking around the house all high and mighty with everybody, right?
No, Todd's knocking him down. He's like, no, this is what first place looks like. It's awesome.
Todd said, remember who's on top.
Yeah. What's crazy about Todd's too is they had cooling issues too, so they couldn't go over like 6,000 RPM. And then at one point they ended up on their side. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
They had like a 20-minute gap on us, and I think we finished like 4 minutes or 5 minutes after they did, but they were on their side for a little bit there. So
we were rooting for you guys on our way back to Vegas.
Yeah, it was.
We were like watching the live timing, like, oh, they got it.
Yeah, and the family atmosphere.
They're already talking trash in the comments.
I told you that, man. It's not.
Look what you started, Sam.
You should have heard it all weekend. It was amazing. So Todd and Jen took all of us to Lake Tahoe on Sunday or yesterday. And then AJ and I flew back to Wisconsin today. But just the whole family atmosphere is just amazing. It was what was so cool, and something that, that I love watching because I never got to have it, is, seeing a father and son do something together, compete, and then being a part of it and help it to be achieved, right? So first and second place, father and son, is amazing. But what else was really cool is, so Todd's parents were also there. And Todd's dad was like one of the first people to hug me as soon as I got out of the car. So it's like you had 3 generations right there. And, I don't have any living grandparents. My dad is 74 and he's a farmer. He's not going to be getting in a race car. So to see the family, work together and then create an extended family as well, like the pit crew, everybody, we're all so close now, and it's awesome.
Doesn't that melt your heart?
Yeah,
that's
it
pretty
does.
cool. Oh, but dude, did your dad get to watch the live feed?
He didn't know. Oh no, he's still trying to understand why I did it because 12 hours in a race car. He's like, I don't get it. He looked at my helmet and he saw like the pumper connector, and he's like, oh, you got speakers in there? And I was like, no, Dad. What's wrong with that?
We got air.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. But this is the perspective that we need to open up, and Sam will agree with this when I talk about it. And this is actually a good comment to make for her in her job position, especially with being an athlete manager. Having the ability to share your experience, sit in the car with you on a live stream and educate your father or educate anybody for that matter on who doesn't know what it's about, and they can feel the same emotions that you're explaining to us here, is exactly what we want to try to do to help grow this off-road industry that we all love so much.
Yes, for sure. Did you read Jacob's comment?
I felt bad. I think I peed on Paul's shoes at the finish. I didn't know he was right there.
No, he did that.
Oh my God.
Ooh, that's funny.
It's funny, but you know who's going to get their ass kicked later after all this? Jacob.
I think I gotta do a review on Jacob now.
Jim Sr. doesn't mess around, man.
That's pretty cool. Overall, what did you think about the race or the experience all in all for your, I don't know, I mean, like for the whole time living your dirt life?
It's hard to put it into words. It's euphoric. It's something that, you can dream about, you can think about, you can have little thoughts go through your head and stuff like that. And I think that's what I didn't have any expectations going into this. I didn't know I didn't want to make an assumption because I didn't want to have something in the back of my head while everything was going on that would ruin the present or ruin the experience that I was having. And it's unlike anything else. And it feels almost like it's like the first time doing anything, like the first time driving a car, or the first time, you don't have an expectation about it. Now that you have it, now you have this feeling that is inexplainable, and you just want to share it with everybody, and you want everyone to feel this way. But the only way to do that is to convey your experience. And then hopefully they just go and they go to a race, or they watch a race, or they participate in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. That's kind of what George is doing here with the live streaming and stuff, kind of getting everyone to have their different, the outside people that can't really look in the cabin and be like, what's going on in here?
Yeah.
They're just watching from the stands, or they're watching from numbers on a live scoring. So it's really cool to bring outside people in, but especially show them the sport. Yeah. That everyone says that we all love.
Yeah. It's incredible. And, there was something else that I was going to say in regard to what we were talking about, but it just left my brain. Crap.
Always happens to me.
I read Jacob's comment saying my personal, as I was thinking it. So that's ADD is strong right now.
No, yeah. I think it's pretty cool though. Even last year too, you went and traveled to Oklahoma from Mid-America I'm pretty sure that was last year, yes, to kind of go out there and do, for work reasons and stuff, but to even kind of see the short course and then go into the desert perspective, what do you think about that? What's your favorite type of style of racing?
Desert, for sure. It's just so much, there's so much more that I feel, and nothing against short course. Short course looks like it's like combat fighting for me. It looks like you're just going to you're going to try to beat, and everyone's so close together. But with desert racing, with the staggered starts and just the endurance part of it, it's a lot of mental, there's a lot of straightaways. There's a lot of opportunity for you to kind of wander in your head, whereas short course, it feels like you have to stay focused, you have to stay present, and you have to make sure that you're not going to get, nerfed or sent some other direction. So I think desert, just because of the challenge that goes along with it.
Yeah. Especially, the challenge and the mental blocks that you have to fight constantly.
Yeah. Just that mental game.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I love it too.
And that's the other thing that I was surprised about. I never once got in my head about anything. There was never and usually, which is strange because, it's a stereotype that women overthink everything, but there was never the moment where I was actually anywhere else but where I needed to be.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why I fell in love with it.
It is. It is really hard.
That's so difficult to do. You should be proud of that, Sam, because that's I don't know. What's that movie where they're like, squirrel? That's me. I can never stay present.
That's normally how I am, is squirrel. And even when Drew, one of the guys in the pit, he was upside down in the car fixing the steering rack. At no point did I wander at that point while we were sitting at that pit. I was like, all right, so we have to go here, here, and here. And then that's it.
That's super cool. Staying on your A game. I love it.
Yeah, like Jacob said, that's us out of the car. Out of the car, we're just complete squirrel and everything. But maybe that's why it was fun, because we were having squirrel moments in the car, but it was still focused on the race.
Yeah.
Well, when that adrenaline gets pumping, it does something to like the ADHD, and it just calms everything down. It's super nice.
We thrive in chaos.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, look at you with those nice comments here. Hey, wait, is there anything like what you were saying though? Like, would you have changed anything? Like, would you have done anything different, or would you like, oh, you know what? I learned a lot from that. Like, I shouldn't do that, or I should do this better.
Honestly, George, I learned so much from every aspect of every part of that race. Like just calling out and understanding the driver and understanding the car itself and how, like, when to call out turns, how to call out turns, how it brakes, how it feels, and just every little movement. I mean, the whole experience was learning, and I want to learn more.
Yeah. Props to you for sure for going out there and not expecting anything, just having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything going into it, so it's not like I was going to pretend like I knew anything. Yeah. I just wanted to be a sponge and absorb it all. I had the basics down enough to be dangerous and to understand what my goal was and what the expectation of, my role is in the car, and to keep not only myself safe, but Jacob safe and the car safe, and to keep everything together. Like, I knew that needed to happen. Yeah. But everything outside of that was just pure education.
Yeah.
Hey, what could you have done to beat Todd? What could have been the move? Like, hindsight's 2020.
Working front diff.
Yeah.
Solid steering rack. And I think that, honestly, after that steering rack went out, we went really conservative.
Yeah.
So I think if that hadn't happened at like pit 3, Todd, I see that.
That's the reason I asked that question.
Honestly, if we would have had a perfect car, knowing his issues, but we didn't know his issues. So that's, what did Jacob just say? For me, it was for sure the steering rack. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Like, I love the banter back and forth. That's why I just wanted to start a little bit of a...
Y'all should have met at the house.
Rustle everybody's belly. What do you think about you guys teaming up one of these days?
I think that'd be a gnarly idea.
Dude, I've always been in Bella's corner. I'm always in Bella's corner.
Yeah, there you go.
I love that.
Yes.
You guys, what you guys should do is plan a race to do together, and then plan a podcast the Monday after that race or the Wednesday after that race, and you guys can just take over that whole week.
Absolutely down.
I'm so down for that.
That'd be so cool. We gotta figure out something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Todd said, let's go.
I don't want to pull like the girl card, but I think it's very important, especially in situations like this, because I'm learning so much from you guys on how to handle yourself, how to basically be patient. Like, you guys are talking about patience a lot. And what kind of stuff that could you give as advice to younger girls that want to get into this, Sam?
Don't be afraid. It's intimidating. It's very intimidating coming into a male dominant because I mean, as many women are in this sport and as many women are participating in things like this, it's still primarily male dominated. And I think just not thinking about it and just going for it and being confident in who you are and understanding that you also want the same thing that they do. And I don't want to say like removing gender out of it, but kind of removing gender out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And the ratios are changing, right? And I think that's super cool. But I also think that there needs to be staple athletes and staple women that really try to make it so that everybody understands that it's possible, right? Because if you're giving it on or you're saying yes, no, all these things, it doesn't really give that much confidence to the new up-and-comers, right? So I think you guys are doing a fantastic job, both you and Bella.
I also will say thick skin, because there's going to be situations.
Good point.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
And never take anything personally. My brother made me read the 4 agreements like 4 years ago.
Yep.
And that book really sent everything home. Like, you cannot take anything personally and you cannot make any assumptions. You can't just assume that, somebody's saying something about you because they could be talking about, a different like colored shoe that somebody's wearing or something. You can't have that in your head, that there's an assumption that because you're a female in this industry that somebody's saying something. You just got to go into it, not make assumptions, and don't take it personally, and just do what you came there to do.
But I also think it's the way that you represent yourself too, right? And it doesn't matter whether it's a girl or a guy, but like I think for girls it's a little bit tougher, and you have to represent yourself a little bit stronger.
Yeah. I think definitely going into a hard-headed sport too, where it is fully. I mean, not fully, but
no, you're right. The hard-headed sport has actually been bothering me a little bit lately. And Sam, I don't know if you've been getting this. Maybe it's like a full moon thing or something, but people know too much. Like they need to be able to be a sponge. They need to be able to ask questions. Like you don't need to know everything. The way that you're going to grow, the way that you're going to get better is to open up your perspective and actually listen and look forward. Mm-hmm. And I've been seeing a lot of people lately that have been, nope, I know what I'm doing. It's like, no.
Things change. Everything changes every single day. And like even what Ryan and Travis were saying in the beginning, I got so much out of that. And of course I was going to, all these people prior to me coming on are very experienced in multiple facets of the racing community. There's so much education that you can take from just those people, from just those, like, what was it, 15 minutes, 30 minutes from each of them? Mm-hmm. There's so much.
One conversation could help an entire race, and not many people look at it like that.
Well, the one conversation I had with Sarah, and it was like 15 minutes. I was in Mitchell, South Dakota, about to get on my bike, and she called me about something unrelated, and that whole conversation changed my education for the following week with Erica.
Yeah.
No. Just being open to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Hey, do you mind if I ask you a business question? Because we're going to have a sponsorship summit tomorrow, and I want to be able to explain some of the stuff like from an outsider's perspective. What is some of the most valuable stuff that people can do to get sponsors in off-road racing?
I really, really like when racers will send me a racer deck that has all of the information that I could ever need. So photos, previous race results, who their current sponsors are, social media. I know that it's annoying and we hate posting on it and it's a lot of tedious effort, but it does help. And so if you have an active social media, make sure to list that. And then just good contact info. And then also, what are you looking for from us? That's always good to know. Because I've had some people contact just to put a sticker on the car. They don't really want anything. It's like, well, why? So.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
So those are going to be a lot of the things that we're going to talk about on the sponsorship summit tomorrow. I just got a text because some guys wanted a little bit more clarity on it. Myself personally, I'm going to be one of the guests on there, but I'm only going to be talking about technology. And that technology actually goes into stuff like what Sam is talking about representing yourself digitally, whether it's on social media, whether it's on YouTube, whatever, having live streams, interfacing with promoters and all of these different things. So I think there's a lot of value in that. We're going to talk about stuff like what Sam said about decks and different things like that. I just want to keep telling you guys about it because I want to see people come to the summit tomorrow because I want the industry to grow.
I wish I could be there.
Yeah, my whole goal by starting the Dirt Life was to help grow the industry. So this is one of the tools.
Well,
we got this.
You helped grow the industry with me because if it wasn't for your podcast that you did with Jen, wouldn't have
there you go.
snowballed our whole situation here.
So cool.
We're trying, but you're doing a really good job,
yes,
Sam. Like you're not just helping yourself. You're not just being a co-driver in the passenger seat racing. You're helping other athletes. You're doing all kinds of stuff in the business. You're supporting different racers. You're coming on the podcast and talking to us about off-road racing.
You're a role model to me.
Yeah, boom.
Oh, stop! You inspire me. I was literally going to tell you that you inspire me.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, I was going to ask, how's the puppy? Because you were gone for so long.
Cricket. He's here. My dad actually brought him to the airport and he howled. He was howling in the truck. He was so excited to see me.
We love our puppies.
What did the puppies say when you guys got back, or did you bring him?
Oh, we brought him. We bring him to every race. He sits at the pit.
Cricket was at the Mint. He was not at Vegas Torino. I was like, I can't put that on somebody for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes.
Yeah, when it's a loop race, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah,
for sure.
Thank you so much for coming on. It was so cool talking to you in depth on the surface. I love it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Wait, what's next for Sam?
Yeah, it's on your list.
What's next is Sand Sports Super Show prep.
Oh,
yes. We know it goes into that. We got event season coming up. So for Evolution Power Sports, I'm not only the sales manager, but I'm also an event coordinator and a sponsorship liaison. So we have Glamis every single month, October, November, December. Then we had the King of the Hammers. We have an event in Oklahoma in October. There also might be something else in October.
Okay.
No sleep.
Jacob has asked me to co-drive for Laughlin too, so I'll be there.
Nice. Super cool. Super stoked for you.
Don't hang up just yet. Tacos or hot dogs?
Yeah. Tacos.
Okay.
Why would you ask
we could be friends.
Okay, what's the next one? We're going to go down the whole list.
Okay. Chicken or carne asada?
Wait, say that one again.
Chicken or carne asada?
Carne asada.
Dunes or the river?
River.
Action shots or still shots?
Action.
Yeah.
Three-wheeler or quad?
I really want to do something stupid on a three-wheeler.
You know they're called death machines.
Yeah, that's why I want to do it.
Pizza rolls or jalapeno poppers?
Poppers.
Okay.
Coffee or tea?
Favorite movie?
Oh, so I heard you say this. I have two favorite movies, and these are like my go-tos. It's Triple X with Vin Diesel.
Okay.
And The Italian Job.
I've never seen that movie or heard of it.
Dude, mine is Requiem for a Dream, Salt and Sea, and what was the other one? Crap, I forgot.
Departed. I also like
right.
The Departed.
The Departed is good.
Instagram or Facebook?
Insta.
Yeah.
What about if it was Instagram or TikTok?
I still do Insta.
Me too.
Let's see here. If you could have one superpower. Because Ryan said
it would be. I heard him say see into the future. I wouldn't want that. Not a chance.
You wouldn't?
No, I would want the ability. It's so cheesy, but I would want the ability to take grief away for a certain amount of time.
Ooh.
That's a really good one.
Yeah,
that's a soulful one right there.
Yeah. I really like that.
Mine's way lamer. Mine's teleport.
Really?
Yeah, because then I can just get people where fast. I don't got to drive no.
That's legit.
Mine's repeat.
Oh my god, that would be so heavy though, dude. What if you could really get into people's minds?
I would love that.
That would be so jacked up.
Dude, I don't even know if you would want to be in here.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like a hamster and a raccoon and a squirrel, and they're playing poker, and for some reason there's a Ferris wheel. No.
That was a perfect explanation. I understood that completely.
It makes total sense.
Netflix or YouTube?
Did you say Netflix or YouTube?
Yes.
It's YouTube in the morning and Netflix at night.
Okay. That's fair.
Videos or photos?
Photos.
Okay. Retro.
Yeah.
Black and white or color?
Color.
Yeah, color. Most memorable race?
Actually, the mint. Because it was my first.
Okay.
It was my first. I actually have it. I got a tattoo of Hunter S. Thompson because, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And it says faster, faster until the thrill of speed overcomes the fear of death.
How rad. That is so cool.
And I did that after the mint.
I feel like this question is going to totally negate what she just said because that was meaningful. Favorite snack?
Trying to think what I've snacked on. I'm just going to say Uncrustables because I just keep in the freezer and that's just my go-to.
Racer go-to. Every racer I know loves Uncrustables. Supercross or motocross?
Supercross is fun to watch.
Yeah. I agree.
What other form of racing would you like to try? And open up your mind. There's a lot of racing.
The bug stuff seems so fun, but it looks but it looks so painful at the same time.
We just did class 11 testing yesterday morning. Oh my God. It was so, because we put a live stream system on a class 11 and you're driving around the track. You're like, oh, it looks so fun. It's not that bad. And then you look at the live stream. You're like, oh, we're back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, maybe that's why it's so appealing right now because I still have a pretty decent back.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know, 4800 stuff seems fun.
Yeah.
You're all about off-road, dude. You can do anything. Whatever you can do anything. You can do drag boats. You can do anything. Monster trucks.
I'm not a massive water person, so that doesn't really get me. My brother does car stuff and he does rallies, so I don't, siblings need to stay in their own categories, or else it gets a little gnarly.
What about if you could combine two? You can do hooligans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Speedboat or dragster?
Dragster.
Yeah.
Chips and guacamole or French fries and ketchup? It's the final one.
Chips and guac.
Let's go.
Well, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I do think that you guys should do maybe come up with some sort of plan, like I suggested.
Yeah.
Like do a race together, do a
That'd be
podcast
super
together,
rad.
or maybe in the opposite format or whatever.
Yeah.
But still, I think that you guys have some good things to talk about too.
Yeah, we could tear it up.
Bye, Sam.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Sam. Thank you so much.
Man, tonight's show was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I will say, Bella, is I love having race recaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love talking with all the guys. But a lot of the stuff that you and Sam just talked about really hits me in the soul. So I think we should actually keep going with this same type of context, right?
Yeah.
So thank you guys all very much for watching. Please, we just posted on, I think it was on the Dirt Life show, might have been on Starstream, but go check out the Instagram and join us for tomorrow's sponsorship summit. Thank you very much to the guys at Maxxis for doing all that they did for that final 48. That was just insanely cool to see. Like, I can't tell you how much I think companies should give back like this to all of the racers. It is so cool that they just focused on the racers. It wasn't an athlete program. It wasn't any, it was just to give back to the racers. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. So if you're a company out there, please put some effort into thinking about that stuff. Thank you very much, Bella, for being so flexible. You did a really good job on the show tonight. And thank you everybody else for watching.
Thank you to everyone who watches. We do this all for you, so it was fun being co-host for a little bit, but I'll let you know when Bella's Corner gets up and running again. So.
Well, no, you're not. You're up and running all the time. Thanks to the guys at KMC Wheels, Maxxis Tires, Shark Therapy, Evolution Power Sports, Cylinder Racing Products, Vision Canopy, and Starstream. We will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show. See you next week.